Welcome back to the shop, guys. Today we'll be working on the RM250 back here that's scattered in a million pieces. But what I have going on now is some parts cleaning. So the engine is completely apart, back on that cart. Going to clean things up, shine all the parts up. Let's jump into it. So I'll be cleaning all these parts up here in the parts washer. This is just a cheap Harbor Freight tank. I added a heater to it and some other stuff to turn it into a little monster. But it is well used, you could say. All crusty and rusty, but it does work really well. So I'm gonna soak all these parts for about an hour and then get scrubbing. And I've also got a little trick to show you guys how to speed up this process even further. Just gonna start dropping things down into the bottom. Now there's a couple things I want to tie up before I drop them into the bottom. I'm going to put zip ties on either end of the transmission shafts as well as the kickstart shaft just to keep everything together. And then for things like the stator, I'm not going to soak these, I'm just going to brush them up top. Now before I drop the cases and clutch cover into the cleaning tank, I like to pop out the old seals and always make note, like take a picture or a video like this of the seal depth, like where it's sitting in the crankcase before you pull it out. Same goes on this side too. And then pull out the filler plug just to clean all inside of there too. And for the bearings, I'm gonna leave those until afterwards, especially the main bearings. I like to pop the cases in the oven. That way the bearings just drop out basically, doesn't damage the crankcase. And another thing too, I like to pull out the dowel pins as well as cylinder studs. Now some of these dowel pins can be pretty crusty, like really stuck in there. So I'll show you how I go about pulling those out. You can see this one's already pretty messed up from me trying to get it out. So what I'm gonna do is squeeze it, kind of mush it. It also helps to add some heat to the equation too. Find a bolt that fits in there and then give it a whack. And there we go. She's out of there. As you can see, just scrubbing at it here in the tank is working pretty good, eating up all that dirt. Gaskets are just melting right off too. But there's something else I want to show you guys that's pretty cool. So over here we have a pressure washer inside of a cabinet. Some of you guys might remember this thing. It rips pretty good. Just drop the part inside, close the door. Got a foot pedal down here. There is a little wand or a whip hose inside. And you just get to work. It takes very little manual labor to get this thing cleaned up. Now the crankcase is free of any grime and oil, and all we're left with is just some corrosion and pitting from over the years. We're gonna take care of that later on, but for right now, I'm going to finish off the rest of these parts. Let's take a little halftime break from cleaning parts. I got something cool to show you guys here. On a little side note, I have been working on reorganizing the warehouse a little bit. Got some new shelving in here. Just kind of redid things. But I did get some new shirts in. Got a short sleeve and a long sleeve. But something happened with them. Let me pull them out of the bag and show you guys. So I've been working on these shirts over the last couple months, just making 100% sure they are the absolute comfiest and best fitting shirts you guys will ever wear. I know I love them. I wear them all day long. So I got my order in, thousands of dollars worth of t-shirts, and unfortunately, due to some miscommunication, the neck tags were sewn in at the wrong spot. They're supposed to be down here. Super pissed about it. and I don't really feel comfortable putting these shirts up on the website and selling them. There's nothing wrong with the shirts besides the neck tag. I just don't really like it in that spot. Wasn't what I had requested. What I've decided to do is give these shirts away. Now for the next week, if you order more than $25 worth of stuff on Prime, I'll include a t-shirt for free. All you have to do is put your t-shirt size in the order notes. So you guys have until December, or actually January 15th, to get a free t-shirt. And I have shirt sizes extra small through 2XL, so nothing outside of that. Now just to clarify, when you're checking out on Prime, you'll need to put your t-shirt size right here in the special instructions for seller box. Now I'll want to get the cylinder and crank cleaned up before I send them out for repair. And for the cylinder, the exhaust valve needs to be removed, which I've already done, as well as the studs. So I'm gonna pull those out right now. All right, the cylinder's all cleaned up, looking good, ready to send out for repair. So I'll be sending this out to Power Seal USA to fix this detonation damage right here. So basically what they're gonna do is TIG weld that, strip all the nickel plating off, replate it, obviously smooth everything out, fix this issue right here near the exhaust port. Also, one more thing, once you're done cleaning all the carbon off your cylinder, you want to check the exhaust bridge. Actually, this one has two of them. It's very common for those things to crack. You want to take a good look at those, make sure they're not damaged. If they are, Power Seal can weld those up and get those back in order. And whenever you send out a cylinder for repair or like a replate, you want to include the piston with it. Obviously, we're going with a new piston here. This is a Pro X standard size. So we're gonna send that piston with the cylinder to have it perfectly matched to the bore. And when we get this thing back, we will be all ready to rock. I'm a big fan of the Pro X stuff. These parts are made in Japan, so they're the same quality, or if not better than the OEM parts. And in many cases, some of the OEMs actually use Pro X, so they're really good stuff. I snagged this piston from Rocky Mountain. Now, how did I go about getting all of the carbon buildup out of the exhaust valve areas? That stuff is pretty stubborn, but what I ended up doing was soaking the cylinder in simple green degreaser. That ate up most of it. That degreaser is pretty safe on aluminum. And then for the last little bits of it, I used Eagle One mag wheel cleaner, and that cleaned it up pretty well. But once again, if you guys have access to a vapor blaster, that would work a lot quicker. As for the crank, I will be rebuilding this one. It is the stock crank, so they're really solid. I ordered up a Pro X rod kit for it, so that comes with the rod, bearings, everything needed to rebuild it. So as soon as I get that rod, I'll be sending the crank and rod out to Crankworks in Arizona. They're gonna go through, rebuild it, true it up, and I will have a fresh crank ready to go. Now, something you can do to brighten up the aluminum and get rid of some of this corrosion is to use an etching cleaner. Inner clutch cover has some dirt staining on it, so this cleaner will get rid of most of that. So what we have here is a bucket full of Eagle One mag wheel cleaner. It's pretty similar to this stuff right here, just a little bit different. So we're just gonna drop these parts right into there and let them soak for a few minutes. When it's all done soaking, give it a little scrub just to help that cleaner do its job. And there we go. Not a huge difference, but definitely brightens it up a little bit. Now with the clutch cover, I only soaked half of the part. You can see the difference right here. Cleaned this side and didn't clean that side there. So nice little difference there. Now after a bit of scrubbing, we've got every single thing cleaned up and dried off, looking pretty good. Obviously we still need to shine up the cases, clean up the corrosion on the covers and all that. But immediately after you wash the parts off, you want to dry them off with an air compressor. So things like the transmission and gear shift components, anything bare steel, will start to develop rust right away. Now, how I went about cleaning up the hardware is I dropped each lot into this little wire basket, let it soak in the parts washer, and then brought it over to the pressure wash cabinet and blew it off, and they came out pretty clean. I've got everything labeled and organized, just going through and inspecting things, making sure I don't need to replace any of this. Obviously, most of the bolts I will be either replating or replacing altogether. Always good to just check out everything individually, make sure you don't have stripped heads like this one here. Just noticed that, I'll have to replace it. I also pulled apart a few more things like the kickstarter. The gears on here are kind of shredded up. Good thing I pulled it apart. I'll need to replace these. You can see the tops of those gears are starting to wear away. About time to replace it. Now with everything completely broken down and cleaned up, this is where I really get detailed and check out every single little component. Make sure I have all my bases covered. I'd hate to begin assembly and forget like a little screw or washer and hold up the whole process. Now, as far as the exhaust valve parts, you can see these things cleaned up really well. I did do a separate video on this because getting all that carbon off can be quite the pain in the butt. So yeah, I did do a separate video, but basically what I did is boil them on the stove over here and then do some scrubbing on them and then finish them off over here on the bench grinder with the cleaning wheels. And you can see they turned out really well, so keep an eye out for that video. Now I know some of you guys are going to be curious about this parts washer since it does work really well. So basically it is from Harbor Freight, 20-gallon tank. I added a heater to it. Now the heat really makes the biggest difference in cleaning the parts. You can drop everything in the bottom and it really just eats up that dirt and grime. I also added a drain on this side. That's a huge plus. I also added a few more features that are pretty nice. Now, if you guys want more info on how to build one of these tanks, it's pretty straightforward and super cheap to do. I will link a video course that I built a while back down below. Now, the degreaser I'm using in the tank is this Simple Green from Home Depot. I mix it at a 50-50 ratio with water. You gotta be really careful with the degreaser you're using in the tank because some degreasers, when you heat it up, it'll actually turn aluminum black. And this stuff I found is very safe to use with aluminum. As far as the temperature of the tank, you can go from 100 degrees all the way up to boiling. Now I typically keep it around 120, 130. That seems to be the sweet spot. If you really have something nasty, you can turn it up, but you don't want to have it to the point where it's literally steaming. You don't want to be breathing that stuff in. And I'm sure you guys want to know about the pressure wash cabinet. So basically it is from Harbor Freight as well. I should just get a Harbor Freight sponsorship at this point, but it has a electric pressure washer hooked up to it. Got the foot pedal, got the hose that comes up, and inside got the whip hose in there. It has a light. Pretty sweet, very basic setup. I mean, I could add more features to it like a wiper. That would be really handy. Yeah, pretty straightforward. I don't have any videos on how I built this thing. I am considering doing a course on it as well. I'm not sure about it yet. There's still some more refinements I would like to make to the cabinet, but that is the basic gist of the pressure wash cabinet. Now to give you guys a little preview of what's to come on the channel, I already cleaned up the clutch cover, got her looking prime. Thing is absolutely beautiful. And I'll be doing the same thing to the crankcases as well. So hang in there, lots of good stuff on the way. Now, one more thing before I go, this whole bike build that I'm doing, the 2002 RM250 that I'm building on the channel over the next couple of months, it'll be given away completely free when it's all finished up in April. So all you have to do to enter, go down below in the description, click that top link, that'll take you over to the giveaway page. You enter your info there, and that's it. No sort of purchase required. This is not a raffle, no elaborate sign-up plan, just straight up giving a bike away completely free to one of you guys. So once again, go down below, click that link, and you'll be entered to win a badass RM250 when it's all finished up. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you all enjoyed this one, and I would highly suggest staying tuned on the channel. I'll be shining up some parts, doing some coatings, and building the engine over the next few weeks. So lots of awesome content coming your way. So hang in there. I'll see you all soon. Keep it prime.